Okay, this is a playtest of episode 1 of Moonlight, and we're going to run through the game. What you need to play the game is 6 dice. You need both the main sheet or map sheet, as well as the heist sheet for that episode. I got a couple additional pieces of paper here, scratch paper, just for writing, because this is kind of a hard plastic table. And a pen, and I prefer like a Sharpie or some kind of pen that really puts out the ink. Because it's a game with a lot of markup, and the stronger the lines are on the page, the easier it'll be to read the game state. Okay, cool. So to start the day phase, we will just cross off a day, and rather than trying to explain the game at a high level and then go through it, I'm just going to go through it, just play it and kind of explain it as we go. So we'll cross off a day. Every time you cross off a day here, you get to roll 6 dice. So we'll roll those. Okay, and then we'll look at our options here. We start up here on the docks, in the 1-1 corner of the docks here. And so we're gonna move around, start gathering some clues and scoping out some heist locations. Let's start out by, could drive. Let's do some driving. So we'll drive 5-5. And now we're starting here, and with driving, you got to follow the street traffic. So all the streets in Midnight City are one way. So if I start here, I got to go this way, and I got to make sure that the drive is legal before I even begin to execute any of it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 this way, 5 that way. And then, since it is a 5-5 and I'm doing an investigate action, this is going to create a stakeout on the map, which is police interest of things I want to avoid. So that's going to be here on 5-5, because I ended my movement in this quadrant. Well, technically I ended my movement in between 2 quadrants, so I could have put the 5-5 over here as well, but this seems a little more innocuous, so I'll do it over there. Okay, and then, since we're just starting out, I will do more. I don't really want to burn a 10 on the walk. So Sly, this character, has a bad knee, and every time you do a walking action more than 7, you burn out the highest pip on the track, and then you cannot walk that much distance in one turn, as his knee gets worse over the course of the game. So, we'll put we'll put the pair here into hustling. So to do a hustle action, you need to have a pair of dice, and the pair could be anything, it doesn't matter. And I'm gonna do a pair, and I'm gonna do the shakedown action here. There's 3 sub actions. Shakedown, which is to gain a money bag. Street smarts, to level up a heist skill, or an investigation skill over here too. And plant evidence, to gain 2 incrimination on Big Louie. By the end of the first week, we'll need to pay $500 towards the ransom. So I've got to make sure I have that over the next 5 days. So just to safeguard ourselves, I'll go and gain 1 money bag. And then with the 4 and the 6, yeah, it is a little bit wasteful, but we will actually walk with it now just because we're starting out. And I'll burn out the 12 on there, and then we move for 4 and 6. So with walking movement, there's sidewalks, so you can walk in any direction you want. There's no street traffic. You can just walk freely. And when you start an investigation, you just must originate that investigation from any other point of your investigation on the map. So my character isn't here or something like that. I could just come back in anywhere I left off and continue the investigation. But when I conclude that investigation on 4-6, there'll be a stakeout. So if I end that in this quadrant, that'll hit where I've already been, and the police will get slightly suspicious that I've been in that area recently, where these crimes are happening and whatnot. So I might want to conclude that in a different quadrant and not get hit with that immediate stakeout. So that said, let's see what we can do here. We can go start it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I had to backtrack once there, basically wasting a movement, but It's kind of the best option. And then 4-6 would be here, but 4-6 is also here. And this seems a little bit better to put it here. So there's another stakeout created by each investigate action that I do. Once again, the stakeouts are not me. They're, you know, the police catching on to what I'm doing. All right, so we made a little bit of money. We started from no investigation and covered all this. And we put the 2 stakeouts on the map, and then we're going to cross off this and go to the next day. All right, some 3s, some 5s, a 2. That's not so bad. Where to go, where to go? Yeah, I think we're going to start off by just searching 2. So by searching, we cross off anything that's fully and squared. So it's, you know, this one's been scoped out enough to know that we can acquire something there. So search, I'm going to cross off this and grab some luck and grab some moxie. And then these will also add to our clue sets. So the first clue set starts here. I got a hat and I got a dice, basically a box. So that has to be exact. So I put a 2 in the search and I crossed off 2 in squared regions. I couldn't have put a 4 in there because I don't have 4 in squared regions yet. All right, what next? Do we burn the 11 to move 10? I don't know. But our driving movement isn't so great right now. 1, 2. Oh, here's not so bad. I think that's actually pretty good. We're going to do a 5-5 with drive. We're going to go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're back to where we started. And then since we ended in this quadrant with 5-5, we got to go into 5-5 and put another stakeout. So this stakeout will get stronger, meaning if we go through it, we get 2 suspicion rather than 1. But it's kind of in an empty space, so I don't think we really have to go there anytime soon. Okay, so walking 6 wouldn't be so bad because it's not more than 7, so we wouldn't hurt our knee. 6, that's pretty good. Yeah, I think we got to. I kind of want to put these all in informants, but I don't think we have the money for that right now. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At least we got this convenience store scoped out here. We will put this single 3 into informants though, and we'll start building a shape over here to later fill in on the map. These are like our street rats and stuff like that that'll get us intel for money. Okay, so that was day 2. Did all the stuff and cross off another day, and we're going to go into day 3. All right. A lot of 4s, wow. That could work out actually quite well. That could work out quite well. That is pretty good. Yeah, we're going to take advantage of that. We're going to just put all these 4s into informants. So the icon here means infinite. Right, with searching, I can only go there once per turn. Hustling, same. But informants, you know, that's other people doing the work for us. So we're going to go ahead and go in here with all 4 of these. And since we had $100 before, we can immediately use that. So every time you conclude an informants action, you can spend money to then imprint that shape on the map and gather all those clues. You can't use this to do heists though. It's really just to gather clues. So I'm going to put these 4s down this side, all 4 of them. And then I'm going to spend that $100 that we got from hustling earlier to just immediately cross them out. A lot of markup in this game, which I find a lot of fun, but it's going to be covered to think by the time we're done. So I'm going to just knock out this entire area right here. And with that, I'm going to get 2 moxie. So I fill in the bottom pit first, and then I actually fill in the box. And that means we've leveled it up a whole step. And then we're going to get some grit, which we don't have any of. The first one doesn't have a pip at the bottom, so you just fill in the whole box. Now we actually have some grit skill if we do a heist. And then next, we're gonna get some guff. So I'm gonna cross this off. And then we're gonna add to our clue set. So 2 hats, cross this off this whole segment, and some mitts and a mustache. So there we go. So one more, if we get a magnifying glass, we'll get our first clue set and we'll be able to rule out one of these regions as containing the hostage. And that'll be the most searched region. But even if it just had one search square in it, we could rule it out if it's the most searched. So it's kind of the key to winning via this strategy, is knocking one of these regions out as soon as possible. Okay, so this one by itself is kind of not going to help us at all. You need at least 2 dice to do a movement action, investigate, and like moving 3, it's not going to be that good. But we can search 2, and we can put the 1 also in informants for later use. So we'll put that over there, and we'll search 2. Now we're going to search, we got to search exactly 2 places, and you know, I couldn't have done this move with the 2 if I didn't have exactly 2 places to search, or to use the 1. So I'm going to cross off this to get 1 more grit, which gives me 1 more set of mitts over here. And then the last one, I'm going to do this convenience store, which will actually start the night phase, and we're going to go do a heist. Okay, so that's a whole day. So I got 2 days left. I got to get $500, but right now we're in the night of this day, right? Every time you do a heist, you conclude the rest of your day phases actions and then do the heist. Or just better yet, you know, do the search last so you don't have to remember other stuff like we just did. Okay, so this is in the docks, and we have a corner store, which is this icon here. We just find the matching icon, and we go over to the sheet. Okay, so this system, we have exertion, which is how much these exertion bubbles here, that's how much we want to spend in any given time during the heist. Do we like break down the door? Do we sneak in? You know, do we use a little bit of energy or a lot of energy to start out with? This is fairly open, so there's not a whole lot of reason not to use a lot of exertion initially, because there's not like a bunch of tricks right when we get in the door. And so we'll use a 5 for starters. However, before we even roll those dice, one of our abilities for our high skill is luck, and that allows us to roll this many dice on easy street right when the heist begins. And right now it's really low because we just have 1 level on it, so we get 1 die at the beginning of the heist. That's a 5, so that goes on into easy street. And now what we can do with easy street is spin those numbers to get whatever number we want here without rolling dice, right? It's just a free number floating. But we rolled the 5 for the exertion, so let's go and resolve that. So we're going to roll 5 dice, and then we have these numbers to spend, but we have to spin them, you know, from the door inward. So we can't start putting numbers over here until we get next to it. So let's do a 5 and a 3 and a 2. That will be solved right away. So these orange segments are locks, and locks need to have either the sum or the difference of the 2 numbers above them. So 5 and a 3, well, the sum would be 8. We can't represent that on a d6, but a 2 will work, right? So that's the difference. I could see us doing this again, right? So we could put a 2 here and the other 5 here in preparation for getting a 3 later. And we also have this free 5 over here as well. So I think we'll knock this one out of the park. It's the easiest heist in the game, so we shouldn't congratulate ourselves too much. It's almost a tutorial. All right, so here we go. A lot of 5s, a lot of 2s. That is quite something. This almost gets us into a weird bind, though, where we need to roll a lot of 3s later to make this work. This may backfire pretty horribly, actually. That's one of the penalties of rolling too many dice. You can really overcommit, right? So this might backfire quite badly. All right, so I'm gonna put another 5 there. Yeah, this is pretty wild of a roll, but this is kind of the things that happen when you roll too much dice. Yikes, we are really committed for getting a ton of 3s here on out. And this 5 here is really unhelpful at this point because we have so many of them. And you can't, having the same number in these ones is really bad because you can't, unless they're really low numbers, you don't get a sum. And there's no difference between them, right? So you can't get a difference between them as well. So the 5 is pretty much moot. So I'm gonna roll 2. And what else do we have over here? So we have guff, use a matching exertion to invert or flip a matching die. So if I roll a 6 with these 2 die here from this 2, spinning this 2 exertion, If I roll a 6, I can use a 6 exertion to flip it and get a 1. That may or may not be helpful. And then for the grit, I can use an exertion to fill in any square instead of rolling. So that means I can just say, cross off a number and just put it in. But this skill is also very weak right now because it only have 2 levels in it. So I can only do that with 6s, which is not super helpful either. But Moxie, I have 2 levels in. So I can use a 1 exertion to add that much to a rolled die. That may be quite helpful, and we still have 3 1s still open to use. Okay, so without further ado, let me roll those 2. And let's see. Well, we got one of the 3s. That's going to be really good. Let's just keep at with that. And we have this 4. With the 4, we can put it over here. And then if we get a 1, we'll be good, which at least isn't 3, right? So we don't have to roll a bunch of 3s. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 spaces left. And kind of don't want to roll a huge number of dice at once in case they're all the same number. So let's actually stick with 2s. Roll 2 dice again. Okay, 4, 3. Well, the 3 is, yeah, that's solid. That's good. The 4, though, that's not so great, right? Because no matter where we put it here, I can't put it in this corner because I'm not touching there yet. It's orthogonal. You can't jump diagonally. It doesn't fit in any of these other ones. And if I put it here, then we just need a bunch of 1s. So then we only have 3s and 1s. But I don't know if we have a better option here. Actually, I think I'm going to just discard this die and use one of the stumble pips at the top. So what these will do is allow us to get rid of die we don't want that we rolled, right? That's another problem of rolling too many dice at once. However, these add to additional suspicion at the end of the heist. So suspicion on top of any other suspicion we'd already be gaining. But I just don't want to bind ourselves into just having 1s and 3s here. Okay, so we still need 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers total, and the 5 is going to be pretty much, yeah, we've already ruled it's worthless. I think we're just going to take extra hits of suspicion here. We're going to roll 4 dice. Oh, we're going to roll 4 dice and hope. Oh, well. Maybe we should have just stuck with the 5s. These 3s are coming through for us. Okay. We got that. And we have no 1s. And no prospect of getting 1s. But, do we have anything else here interesting? We really don't want to use a 4 because then we need 2 1s on the remainder, right? The 3 is at least better because at least we're just sticking to it then. Okay, so at least if we have a 1 or 2, we can work with that. But I'm going to take 2 more hits of stumbles from these 2 4s I got to get rid of. And then 3. I think I roll 3 dice here. Okay, roll 3 dice. That's more than we can use, right? But we do have enough stumbles that we can get rid of them. All right, potentially. Probably even should roll more dice here, actually. But whatever, we're committed. All right. Okay, that's not bad. So we have a 2 here, and these 2 5s unusable. And I can add 1 to them. That kind of works. Let's see if we can figure this out. So we have 2 5s. I can spend an exertion to add a pip to a rolled die. I can add 1. That will work. Okay, so I'm going to use a 1 exertion to add 1 pip to the 5, making it a 6. We're not going to use this other 5, so I'm just going to go and get rid of it and take another stumble. Then we can use our guff, use a matching exertion to invert, flip a matching die. So I'm going to use the 6 exertion to heave that over to a 1, which then gives us our solution to this one. So that was close. We're going to have to leave this blank or put a wrong answer in here, which would lower the amount of loot we get from it, which wouldn't have been good. Okay, so next we go to since we finished the heist, we will see how much loot we get. And did we get anything wrong? We didn't get anything wrong in terms of a solution square, these critical squares here. So we get the full loot value, which is 300. So we're going to go over to our money, 100, 200, 300. Each bag is 100 and each diamond is 500. Okay, and then we go over to the morning phase where we're back on the scene of the crime. trying to destroy evidence and clean up our crime scene. All right, so we slide it over here, and had we had any investment in Savvy, we would have been able to use that in this phase, but we don't. So we're just gonna do our best here. But since we had all these 5s in a row and all these 3s in a row and all these 2s in a row, this will work out quite well. So first of all, I'm gonna use a 5 exertion to knock out this entire row of 5s. And whenever you use an exertion in this phase, you pick a row or a column and cross off all the matching numbers in this one. So we're cleaning up the crime scene, destroying evidence. So we're destroying all this. And then we'll use a 2, and you can X these out individually, but my inner child loves to scribble on things, so here we go. So I'm putting the 2 there, and then with the 3, we're gonna go all the way out here with this, not hit the 4 because it's not a 3, and then get this 3 as well because it just cares about the entire row or column. Then we have a 1 to spare. We'll knock this out as well, and we have a 4 to spare. So even though we struggled quite a bit there, we still were able to blank it all out, which is typically how it goes. But we did cost ourselves 1, 2, 3, 4 additional suspicion that we weren't able to stop from discarding all those die. So I'll just go and just fill in this spot. If you're feeling really artistic, you could, if you had a pencil or something, you could actually just sketch in the transparency here, make it look more realistic as it fills in, but we'll just do this lazily and just cross off 4 worth into this zone. So we're 4 towards losing the game with our suspicion. And next we will check how much incrimination we were able to incriminate Big Louie with. Now, what else would have cost against us in this phase is any of these critical squares left uncrossed out would have added to the stumbles we did for suspicion. So as you can see with some of these higher level heists, they're much more dicey with how many critical squares there are on them and how they're not in a neat line for you to cross them out all at once. And we have a lot of incrimination with him because we blacked out all of these floor squares, the white ones. So we're able to create a lot of evidence to frame Big Louie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 2, so that's 12. So we'll just put in a big segment here below of 12. Okay, there we go. And that is the end of the morning phase. So bleary-eyed and with very little sleep, we go back to the day phase, knock off a day off the calendar, and get back to the search. Okay, we have $300 and we're gonna need $500 by the end of this next day. So we're looking pretty good because we didn't have any wrong answers on that heist. No sirens were deployed. Okay, that's a pretty healthy roll there. And we have our R11 as well, which I think we can't resist taking that. So we will take the 11 right off the bat and do our investigate walk action with 11, and we lose the ability to do another 11 for the rest of the game and future episodes, actually. Spoilers, his knee will still be banged up as the episodes continue. All right, so we can free move 11, and we just need this one magnifying glass to be able to knock out the first region, which seems like a really good thing to do this early in the game. So we're going to head down yonder. I think I can scoop this one up on the way. So I'm going to start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, backtrack, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Not our best shape ever, but there are reasons. All right, so 5, 6 would be here or here. We'll put this out here. Not a great spot because we'll want to pick this up eventually, but better than next to a heist location. Okay, so that's our walking and our investigating there. And next, we do want to search, and we can search 1 or search 2. I'm just going to search. Well, this pair is quite nice though. This pair is pretty good. Yeah, we want to keep this pair for hustling. So we're going to search 2, and we're going to do another heist back to back. It's a little bit dangerous being this low leveled, but it can work. All right, so we're going to grab this Savvy with the 2. That's the magnifying glass we were looking for. And with the other one, we're going to knock this one out, meaning at the end of this phase, we're going to do yet another heist of this other store here. And we're going to knock out, more importantly, here on the clue set. So our most search region at this point is here, 1, 2, 3 versus 2 in industrial. I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the docks versus 2 in industrial. So clearly the docks is at a commission. We know the hostage is not in the docks, so we'll just put this in this little square, ruling that out. And we have the 6 to work with, which isn't super helpful. We'll put it over here. Now you can't rotate or flip these informant shapes, so you got to be kind of discerning on where you want to, what space you want to use here. I'll just put it up here. And then for the 1s, I will, now if I shake down again, I'm $400 in. So kind of if the heist goes really poorly, I still am close to paying the ransom. I think let's just play safe. So we're gonna grab another $100. So we have 400 here circled. And that's it. So kind of tempting to level something, but we'll bear through it. Okay, so we go into the next heist. So we're doing 2 heists back to back. We are a menace to society, but this isn't a retail shop. These are pretty easy. All right, so first, oh yeah, we on Easy Street, we didn't use the 5 last time, so that's lost. It's a use or lose it kind of thing. And this heist begins for the retail shop. Now we have still just 1 luck, so we gotta roll 1 freebie and put that on Easy Street. And then we can start spending exertion. Well, last time I spent 5 and it was kind of a disaster. So let's go a little bit more timid with the 4. So I'm gonna spend 4 dice here. Lots of 2s into trace. Okay. This green is a gate. So each number on one side of it must be greater or equal to the number placed, and the other side the opposite, lesser or equal to. But a bunch of the same numbers are not bad for this. So we're gonna go 2, 2, and 2. So this side of it will be lesser or equal to, and then the other side will be greater. So I could actually put the 3 over here, because as long as this is a 3, 2, even a 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, then that's fine as well. They get harder as they're long, as you find longer ones on the board elsewhere. Okay, so that worked out kind of okay. Feeling a little more zesty. Let's roll a 5. What can we do with that? Okay, the 5's good here. So that's higher or equal to the 2. That takes care of that. The 6 is good here. And then the 1 is the difference between 5 and 6. So we'll get rid of that as well. And then the other 6 is fine here as well. And then the other 6 is fine here as well, because that's also a gate. So these got to be equal to or higher than that number. So that was also pretty easy. But again, it's an easy heist. All right, so we're going to roll 3. And I could roll 4 or 5 again, but I like to kind of like, I don't know, mostly use up a number set first. So the cleanup, the cover up section is easier. Okay, what do we got here? The 2s are not super helpful over here, but not horrible. We can do a 2 here to later get a 4. And then we can drop down to do a 2 here, which is lower or equal to a 6. And oops, smudge the ink there. And then we can do, I don't really want to put a 6 here because that means we need another 4 here, and we just obligated ourselves to have a 4 here. So I can do the 6 here as well. That's still fine. It's still equal to or lower than this, since we rolled a bunch of 6s. This is actually quite easy. Okay, now let's just see. How many do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can't knock it out with the lucky 6 because we could if we use the number on Easy Street. Let's shoot the moon. Let's go for it. All right. Okay, what do we got here? So we didn't get the 4 we needed there. Can we get something else here we need? So we got a 3 and a 5 would work there, or a 1, which we do have a 1. And then a lot of 2s. Not so great. Actually pretty bad. Okay, so we're going to obligate ourselves for a ton of 4s here. Either we put a 2 here and we need a 4 there. A 2 there means that we need a 4 here. That already needs a 4. Yeah, so once again, got a little too excited with the roll and probably shouldn't have rolled that many dice at once. All right. I think we're just committed for 4s. So is what it is. And these dice we can't use at the moment. So yeah, like I said earlier too, we were a little under leveled for 2 ice back to back night after night. So I think we're just in 2 stumbles here. No way around it. We can't manipulate those dice up to anything that's useful. I can only add 1 to one of them, and that would only at best give us a 3. So it doesn't get us there. Okay, well, we can roll 2 dice and just hope we roll some 2s or some 3s that we can plus to 4s. Oh, there's a 4. Heard our call. All right, we got a 4 there. And because we're just eating a bunch of suspicion this time, I'll have to burn the 1 to get another one of those. And we could stop here and lose $200 because the sirens are $100 a pop. So any wrong answers or any wrong answers or blank critical squares count as wrong and lose us money. And the total loot here, no, it's not that easy to see. That says 400. So if we walk right now, we get $200, and we have 400, so we get 600 total, and that covers our ransom. So I think that's keeps us in the game. So let's go and do that. And I mean, we do have a couple more stumbles though. So, but I really don't want to burn any more numbers. So yeah, let's just quit here. Okay, so we're gonna get $200. So I'll just circle 2 more. And just go and pay our ransom immediately. You can pay it whatever you want. So we're gonna cross off 4 of these and 1 more of these to make $500. And we got that first week's ransom out of the way. And we still have $100 to spare. And that's that covered. Now we slide over to the investigation phase / cover up and see what we can do, because we left ourselves quite a bit of numbers. That's why I didn't want to roll anymore. See if we can cover our tracks to the best of our ability here. Now you can't cover blank squares. There's no number in them, so obviously anything you cross out here doesn't work. But since we have these nice rows of stuff, I think we can generate a lot of incrimination, if nothing else. So I'm going to use the 6 to knock out this entire row here. And now, take note that this row is just here, right? Since there's a gap, it doesn't continue on over here. So these ones with more snaky configurations are much trickier to cover your tracks in. I'll cross off a 2 to knock out these 2 up here. And then I'll cross off the other 2 to knock out these 3 2s over here. And then I'll cross off a 3, I have 2 of those, so I'll knock off 1 here and 1 here for this row and this row. I have some 1s to spare, so I'll knock off this one and this one. I have a 4 to knock off this one, and I have a 5 to knock off this one. So almost a clean sweep besides these 2 2s that were left over. So all the floor squares generate incrimination again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that we crossed off. So we'll fill that in, that's 10 right there. And then any uncrossed off floor squares will generate suspicion, as well as all our stumbles, right? So we had 1, 2 uncrossed off, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5 more suspicion. And this is adding up pretty quickly, especially because this is persistent over multiple episodes. Spoilers. All right, so here we go. We got this. We paid off our ransom. We'll just do 1 more day, and then that'll cover the tutorial for now. As you can see, it's a pretty meaty game. It takes probably like an hour to beat. All right, so, but we're kind of, maybe in the 50-minute range, because we did knock out an area with the clue set really early in the game, and that will be very helpful later in the game. Okay, so that's our roll for the day. What do we do with this roll? We have some 1s in informant's already, so we can continue to build on those with those. We have an 8, which is not super great for walking because it has to be 7 or less not to hurt our knee. And we don't have a 10, which would be more ideal to get more utility out of that. But driving for 4-4 is probably what we're going to go with here. What can we do with the 4-4 drive? We could go out here with it. We can resume here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go 1, 2, 3, 4 down this side. And then end it in industrial. 4-4 is right there. And then with the 2-2, we can walk 2-2. That's not the worst. Yeah, and then we'll just hustle with the remaining those and get another skill, I think. I'm going to grab, yeah, having grit on 5 would be helpful. So we're going to grab a skill in grit. And when you're leveling these skills up from here, you don't get the clue set. You just upgrade the skill. All right, but then we need to resolve the walk of the 4 total walk distance. Now, if I conclude it in this sector, it would end here, which I think is fine. So we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 total movement, and then that's a 2-2, and we ended in the heights, so that'll put a stakeout here. So far, we're avoiding the stakeouts quite well, but as you can see, over the course of the game, it gets harder and harder to do that. Okay, so that's the first 5 days of the game. The 3 ways to win would be knock off all these clue sets until you deduce it into one single area of the map. Pay the ransoms on time, or early, that's fine, or incriminate Big Louie. Now we got a big portion towards that, but of course we're doing the easiest size in the game, so that gets harder to go as you continue. And I think that kind of covers the basics. So thank you for watching, and hope you have fun with the game. Oh, and lastly, each episode has different characters or a continuation of the story, adds different mechanics and elements. Eventually we have a combat system as the game proceeds to have a full shootout with the Mafia. So a lot of fun. Hope to have your support on the campaign, and we'll see you in the road ahead. Thanks.